Hello everybody, what is up, and welcome to the one and only episode 1 of the official PlayStation podcast of PlayStation Follower. My name is Christian Buckley, and I'm joined by the newest follower staff member and other half to the channel, Omar.
Hello.
So basically what this series is a more laid-back, discussion-focused talk show where myself, Omar, and maybe a few PSN friends now and then get together and tell you about all of our thoughts and opinions on the ongoings in the PlayStation world and game industry in 4 different segments that get released in daily installments Monday through Thursday. But if you're a completionist, you can just listen to the whole thing in its entirety every Friday on YouTube or an MP3 format. So, starting out our inaugural episode, we're going to be talking about what we've been playing recently. So, past few days, I've been checking out the Ghost Recon Wildlands beta.
How was that?
So I started it last night.
Yeah.
I downloaded it, and my Wi-Fi here at my college is awful, so it took forever, but our friend Brandon was playing the single player of it that is offered in the beta, so I was texting him and trying to find out his thoughts on it. The single player for him, he said that it was very bland, because basically how it works is when you're doing multiplayer, you can have up to 3 other players with you to form your ghost team. But if you're playing by yourself, the other 3 slots are filled with AI, and the AI is not great.
Oh, man.
So, especially if one of the big comparisons, or one of the big aspects from what I noticed during when I played, I tried out the single player a little bit. The AI companions are not great, especially when you're trying to do stealth, because they're pulling some, early PS3 level AI out of their hats with what they're offering. Really sort of detracts from the whole experience, but once I was able to actually get on and do co-op, that's where the game shines. You can draw comparisons specifically to other games in the genre. What I thought it felt like the most was Just Cause, but co-op mixed with Far Cry.
Are there grappling hooks?
There are none, sadly.
Okay.
But it is pretty, funny, some of the stuff that goes on. It's not like Just Cause level humor, but it's
Good physics stuff, like ragdolling and everything?
Oh yeah, it's crazy.
Awesome.
So I just remember this though. One of the things was I was going down the slope of a mountain on a dirt bike, and I have footage of this, so this will be in here, but I hit a fence, I think, going down a hill, and I probably flew at least 100 meters away down the mountain from where my bike landed, and I just straight up died. Some of the stuff, physics-wise, you can do is pretty funny. It adds some character and humor to it. I think the biggest issue I've had, though, is the controls.
Yeah, you mentioned something. I also heard this, too, about the driving being poor, right?
Yeah, the driving's awful.
Yeah. What's the deal with that?
There's no other way to put it except it's terrible.
Yeah.
But it's like GTA 4 level controlling, handling.
So, pretty slow, then?
It's slow, it's sluggish, it's really, sliding all over the place. I feel like I have no control going down hills on bikes. Even with cars, it feels like I'm driving on ice, and not in a slightest movement slides me somewhere. It's just it's really an effort to try and turn on to the side roads. Can
you jump off the bike while you're going down the hill?
Yeah, you can pull some Vin Diesel moves.
Okay. Wheelman.
Yeah, just sort of kick it off and slide down a little bit and stand up, but control-wise, I had to turn the sensitivity for aiming, the camera when I'm driving, the actual driving, and moving up to 100, which is the max, because the default was 40-something, and I could barely aim. I was getting shot at left and right. I had no chance of aiming on people in the amount of time I needed to actually have a chance at survival.
Could you feel like there was a decent amount of auto aim, though? Could you kind of move the camera just kind of ever so slightly around the enemy, then left trigger, would it hit the headshot?
I haven't explored the control menu a lot, but
Okay.
I think there is options for that. There were options for the dead zone for the controller, so you can heighten that if you want it or
Right.
have it be non-existent. I don't know if it was an auto aim. There might have been an aim assist thing. I'm not sure, but yeah, I think the best thing the game has going for it is the co-op, because from my experience playing both, I put probably about 3 hours in, 2 last night, 1 this morning, and I like it a lot. I feel like I'll play it a lot if I have people to play it with.
So how do you? So this is a Ubisoft game, right?
Yes.
So like, how do you feel about it? Like, how I feel like with a lot of Ubisoft games, it kind of feels like they have that one blueprint that they kind of modify ever so slightly. Like, say with a Far Cry and Assassin's Creed and like Watch Dogs. Do you feel like some of the mission design in this is similar to that? Like, are there towers in this basically? Can you
There's
climb
no
towers?
There's
Whoa.
no towers.
What?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But yeah, there's no towers, but what they have, it's sort of similar to Metal Gear 5 in the way it's laid out on the map. Enemy bases all around the whole really like barren natural environments and mountains and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the beta offers 6 missions, I think, and a lot of side missions you can do. It sort of is more limited in its variety of approaching missions than certain other Ubisoft games or even like Metal Gear. It might have just been because there were only 2 of us, because the squad doesn't autofill if you're playing co-op. It's however many people you have with you.
Okay.
Um,
I assume the game balance probably changes though, right? I would hope.
I haven't been able to try it,
Okay.
but like there hasn't been a good way to test it. But
True.
basically how we approached each base and every mission we did was we went to both sides of the entrance to enemy bases. Like, we each covered a side. We pulled out the drone, mapped out the entire base, put hits and markers on every enemy like you can do in Metal Gear.
Mm-hmm.
But the difference between this and Metal Gear stealth-wise is Metal Gear, it never feels impossible.
Right.
This, there's like insurmountable odds for approaching it if you don't do stealth.
So there's like, with Metal Gear, yeah, it feels like every means is viable. Mm-hmm. But with this, it's like there's almost just one way, you think?
It could be different if you have 4 people playing with you.
Okay.
But yeah, with 2 players, it's going up against maybe like 15 to 20 enemies in one base that can call in reinforcements if you're too slow with killing all of them.
Oh, so are there outposts then?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's basically what the beta offers you to do. You have to go into outposts, but they're like smaller bases, sort of, and you can kill a certain amount of people. Sometimes you have targets that you have to interrogate. Sometimes you have intel you have to find. It seems like the mission structure was sort of very similar, but the side quests offered a lot more variety. There were a couple side missions where we just had to kill someone like in the others. There were some where we had to steal a helicopter or a plane that was full of supplies, gathering intel from different wiretapping, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the main way to succeed in it is stealth. And I mean, it makes sense since it is Ghost Recon, but doesn't really seem like there's other options.
So like you said something about interrogation.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a scripted thing, or is there like dialogue choices and stuff?
It's scripted.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just like you go up to him, hit triangle, and you put a gun next to his head and yell at him.
All right.
So that was really it for that. But yeah, go. I hope it's good. I'm gonna be getting a copy of it. I don't know when.
Okay.
Either before launch or on launch. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to putting more time into it, seeing what else it has to offer, because a large portion of the map is locked off. Yeah,
it looks like a pretty big map, right? Like it's
the game in the beta, the map feels pretty big, but probably an hour into playing last night, I opened the map and I just zoomed out all the way. There's a large portion, probably like 4 or 5 times the size of what they give you in the beta, that isn't accessible right now.
Dang.
So I really want to see what other type of environment variability they have.
Did you like the map? Like, because with Metal Gear Solid 5, like, I didn't really ever like the maps. Like, they were fun to be in, but they aren't, like, memorable, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Kind of. It is really barren.
Yeah.
It's never.
Okay.
There could be like cities or like smaller towns that are just other places that aren't accessible right now.
Yeah, like, are the outposts just, like, bases where people will shoot you, or are they, like, kind of, like, lived in?
They're sort of more along the lines of just
Like Far
probably
Cry?
5 to 10 buildings grouped in one area with a bunch of guys and some vehicles. And
No, okay.
but the gameplay is fun if there's more people because it offers more variety on what you can do. You can split up, you can regroup, you can go after random things, and a lot of the side quests just pop up out of nowhere,
Yeah.
which is fun. It's definitely not bad, but I think like I enjoyed what I played, and I think if they tweak some of the issues I have with the controls, it'll help a lot, I think.
Yeah, that sounds cool then, because, like, I kind of forgot about this game, but it's out, like, next week, right?
Yeah, well, Ubisoft's been pretty weird with their betas because they did the same thing sort of with For Honor.
Right.
Yeah, so hope it's good. What about you? What have you been playing?
I've been playing some Night in the Woods. I finished it up. It's this it's developed by Infinite Fall, which they describe this game as a 2D story focused exploration game, I believe. It was kickstarted in 2013. It's got some neat things going for it, where visually it's like super gorgeous. Like, it has some of the nicest 2D art I've ever seen in a video game, and all of it is like so incredibly animated. And it's like, I'll set up the story just a little bit, but you play as Mae Borowski, who is a sophomore in college who just dropped out and now returns to her hometown of Possum Springs. And the stuff they do to make Possum Springs feel like a lived-in town, it's pretty great. Super atmospheric. The soundtrack is brilliant. There's a bunch of neat little touches in that game too, where there's a good, like, you have a laptop and you have the PS4 touchpad lets you move the cursor with it, which is just a little cute thing basically, but it's nice. It's a fun thing. But I ended up having a problem with how long that game is. It's like 9 hours.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it kind of just does like one thing, which is just dialogue trees over and over again, which is, some of the dialogue is really good, some of it isn't, but like it just becomes really tedious after a point when you're just buttoning through the dialogue over and over again, because there's also like no voice acting, or like there's no variation ever to how they tell the story.
Oh, okay.
It's just the dialogue over and over again, right? It has some neat things going for it, but it doesn't really ever feel like it comes together in a way. There's some good characters in it, but yeah, I don't think I'd recommend it, maybe.
Okay, well, yeah, I've been interested in it. I follow the devs on Twitter, and they're really like passionate about it, which is cool. But I really dig the vibe of it.
It's definitely got a really cool vibe. Like, again, the first few hours of that game I played were awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think most of my problem comes from just how long it was, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think it's paced pretty poorly.
So, like, what is the rest of the gameplay like besides the dialogue? Is it just like walking around, or is it like?
Yeah, it's just walking around. It's just like kind of like a Telltale game, right? No puzzles really. You just walk around from place to place. It actually has some really good platforming in it. Like, it's not a platformer, don't get me wrong here, but like the controls are very tight. It feels good.
That's
but
good then.
There's not really any platforming sections or anything. Like,
okay.
I don't know. I'm really curious to see what these guys would do next, because they have the talent to do a bunch of stuff, I think.
How big is their studio? Do you know?
I believe it's 3 people.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah.
How long has this been in development?
Well, the Kickstarter started in like October 2013.
Okay.
Yeah, if you guys want to check it out, there's a supplemental game they've released on PC maybe a year ago called Lost Constellation. It's on itch.io or something, itch.io. You can check that out. It's free. It'll give you a good idea if you'll like this game or not. So, Yeah, I had some problems with it, but I think some people might really like it. So
That's cool then.
yeah,
I definitely want to check it out at some point. I think it's $20 right now.
yeah, maybe 18 with plus if you have that.
Okay, well,
It's
yeah.
also out on Steam if you want.
Okay, yeah. If it has a sale in the next couple months, I might pick it up then. But yeah, that's kind of a little upsetting to hear that it's not all there. But
It's really interesting sometimes. But yeah, I don't know. It's way too long.
yeah, well, 9 hours for $20 and a lot of the same stuff seems a little
Yeah, I think that
like
game would benefit from being shorter,
underwhelming.
and still worth the $20, which is shorter.
You're gonna review it, right?
I believe so. I'm working on that.
All right, cool.